Hello, Natalie. So lovely to be here with all of you ladies. As Natalie said, I'm Malaine Lee. My full name is Malaine Lee Butler. I went to a numerologist right before I got married last year, and he said that Malaine Lee Butler has the capacity to hold more wealth. I'm all about amplifying your wealth, so I was totally game to change the name, have a container that has a higher capacity to hold wealth. As Natalie said, I'm a business alignment coach, and I like to call myself a wealth amplifier. So, really supporting purpose driven entrepreneurs in being able to own and hone in on their unique medicine work, their unique purpose work, maybe make a few tweaks and alignments in how they deliver that to the world so that they can effortlessly magnetize in the wealth, the money that they desire. And I really believe that money needs to be in the hands of people like you that are here today, that are purpose driven entrepreneurs, that are here to serve the world in a really unique way so that you can be ambassadors of abundance and distribute the wealth in a way that serves more people, that increases your impact, and that allows you to have a legacy. But what I'm really clear on is people like you, when you win, so many other people are winning. And that's why it's so important for you to be able to have the money that you need, require, and desire to live a really expansive life. And so today I'm going to share with you a couple of tips in being able to amplify your wealth. And if you implement these immediately, you'll see some shifts and results. Okay. So, those of you that I see on video, if you want to just like give me a little hands up and excitement, or if you want to in the comment box, in the comment box, if you want to just share what you'd love to receive today in these 15 minutes that I'll be talking with you around money, or anything that you're just like really struggling when it comes to money, or the money conversation, just throw it in there so I can make sure that I address if there's anything in particular that needs to be addressed. So when I was about 7 years ago, I embarked on this journey of being an entrepreneur. And I like to say serial entrepreneur because I always have my hands in several different things and creating different wealth channels. But before that, I actually got fired from my 9 to 5 job. I was a executive in a very high corporate position in a life coaching company. And I got fired, which was really baffling for a lot of people because I was making them a lot of money and I was also making a lot of money myself. But one thing that I saw, this massive gap that I saw in the industry with women in particular, was that people were not asking for what they wanted. Women were not asking for what they wanted. They were not asking their worth. They were not owning their value. And thus they were walking around kind of deflated, or almost the energy and the feeling and the visual that I get is almost kind of like this, right? They were walking around with their shoulders hunched, or just not with that glow that I know is available to each of you, right? They were just really walking with their heads down, not held up high. And I wasn't aware of it because for me, I always asked exactly what I wanted. I always asked for exactly what I wanted. I always asked exactly for what I needed. I was always a stand for my value and my worth. And that was something that was instilled with me since an early age, having really amazing role models with my grandmother and my mother, always really asking their value and their worth, particularly my grandmother. She was a multi-million dollar real estate broker. And so I just always saw her, and she would always say to me, you ask for exactly what you want or else you'll never get it. And so I saw this gap in the industry, especially with women, that they weren't asking for their worth or their value. And when I got fired that day, I literally said to my boss, you guys, and he was pretty choked up because it made him even more nervous to fire me. I put my hand on him, on his heart, and I just said, I just want to thank you for all the work that you do, for who you are, and for what you stand for. It was a life coaching company that I worked for. You've changed the tapestry of my family. You've allowed me to grow and expand as a woman, as a person. And I know whatever you're going to say today is just the new chapter of my destiny. And he was like, oh, this is going to be really hard. This conversation is going to be really difficult. And I'm like, maybe for you, but I know that this is God. I know that I'm ready. And so he fired me that day, and it was on grounds that were really silly and insignificant. And I knew in that moment that it was all divine intervention and divine redirection, right? And so when he fired me, I just kept saying, it's God, because I knew that this was me going on the new chapter and the new journey of where my life was always supposed to go. And so even when I was getting fired, you guys, I was able to negotiate the terms on which I got fired. I was able to negotiate exactly what I wanted and needed. I told him exactly how it was going to go down and how it was going to happen. So I immediately turned the table and was able to ask for what I wanted, what I needed, to make sure that my value and worth were not diminished, even in that transaction. So stepping into running my own business, I was really clear that there was this massive gap in the industry, in corporate, but in the world at large, especially with women that were here to make an impact, that had this really special magic inside of them, that they always just got really nervous or tripped up over their words to be able to ask for exactly what they wanted and needed. So how do you amplify your wealth? How do you support yourself in being able to effortlessly magnetize in more money with ease? I'm going to share with you a couple tips today. If you implement these tips, it'll drastically change your money conversation. Number one, I want you to first get an awareness and identify, where does your relationship stand with money? On a scale of 1 to 10, where is your relationship? You first have to take an honest assessment and get really real, you guys. No hiding behind any illusionary ideas of what your relationship is, or what you really desire it to be, or you think it should be. Where is it? 10 being, my relationship is amazing. I have a really intimate relationship with money. We hang out all the time. I honor money. I nourish money in soulmate money conversations and relationships and meditations and all the things. 1 being, not so much. Where are you on that scale? Because once you identify where you are, now you can start to support yourself in moving forward. So a lot of people, when they first address this, they get really clear that they're around, I would say on average, most people are around a 6, right? So not terrible, but also room for growth, which is really great. So once you take that honest assessment, the second step is really getting clear on, how do I nourish this relationship? How do I take this relationship with money to amplify my wealth to the next level? So I want you to start thinking of, and ask, the second step is asking the reflective question, how do I tend to and nourish my relationship with money? How do I tend to and nourish my relationship with money? That might be taking money courses. That might be hiring someone to help you with a spending plan. That might be finally doing your taxes for the past 10 years. You've let them go. That might be waking up every morning and doing some journaling around money. That might be setting aside money dates every week. If you don't have money dates every week, make sure they get in the calendar to love up and get an awareness of where your money is. So we address where your relationship is, and then we get clear on, what can I do to nourish this? What can I do to take this relationship to the next level? A lot of people are treating money in a way that money would be divorcing them if they were in an actual marriage with money, right? And so a lot of people are treating or speaking to money in ways that, if you spoke to your spouse or your child like that, it wouldn't be good. So I also want you to know, in that nourishment and taking money to the next level, how do you speak to money? If you're a little stumped on this, how do you speak to money? How do you interact with money on a daily basis? What are you saying about money internally and externally in your words, right? The third step today that I'm going to give you is, I want you to write a delicious love letter to money. Now, you might find this a little bit silly or maybe uncomfortable, or you might even laugh as you're writing it a little bit, but this exercise couldn't be more serious. Money is energy, right? Just like you and I are all energy. And it is a relationship that a lot of people dismiss or diminish, right? And so in this love letter with money, what you're going to do is literally write a letter to money, pen to paper, not on computer. Something magical happens when you have pen to paper. Dear money, and I want you to write exactly what you desire this relationship to be. I'm so in love with you. I'm excited. I'm recommitting to showing up for you. I'm committed to being in this relationship. I'm committed to making it work. I vow. It's almost like if you ever have gotten married, or if you know about marriage, people exchange vows. It's almost a vow exchange between you and money. This is a really sacred letter that you're writing to money, a recommitment, a vow renewal with money. Once you're done this letter, you're going to write a letter responding. Money, writing a letter to you. And you'll be tuning into the energy of money and writing that letter, Dear Malaine. And whatever comes through, allow that to happen. What is their recommitment to you? I recommit to showing up for you. I recommit to loving you just as fully as you love me, etc. Once those letters are done, this part's really important. I invite you to share it with someone else, someone that is trusted. Just writing it down is one step. Speaking it aloud and getting it out and really feeling the energy of the relationship going to that next level. There's something magical about it. I got married last year, and when I wrote my vows, it was one experience. But saying those vows in front of other people to my husband completely transformed and took our relationship to the next level in that instant. You could feel the energy that was transpiring in that moment. It was quite beautiful. And the same thing will happen in your relationship with money. Make this a really sacred experience. Light a candle, play some music, really allow yourself to feel into taking this relationship to the next level. Money is energy, and when you start to nourish this relationship and really take care of this relationship, it'll take the relationship to the next level, which will immediately amplify your wealth. We occur only in relationship. And when you really get that piece, you'll understand that any relationship that gets neglected, money included, will affect the amount that you're able to receive in your life, whether it be love or actual things. Does that make sense, you guys? I hope so. So, as my time is coming to a close, I just want to share with you ladies that if any of you are interested, I'll actually be diving deeper into this conversation around money and the energy of money, because a lot of people teach, the physical steps, the budgeting and the doing of money. And while that's all beautiful and nice, and those are pieces that I incorporate, if you don't have the financial foundation energetically, it's really hard to layer those affirmations or money songs or money mantras on top. It's like throwing water into a net. So if you just give me a moment, I'm going to drop the link into the chat box. And Natalie, do we have time for questions? Am I allowed to open it for questions?
Sorry, I said, you go, girl. You go.
Thank you. Oh, but yes, I can do it.
Yeah. So you're good. You've got at least like 2 minutes on your clock, and then we've got a bit of buffer time until our next speaker. So
great. So if anyone has any questions that they want to ask me before I bounce off, I'm going to drop the link for that free Sacred Money Masterclass in just a moment into the chat box so that you guys have access to that if you want to dive into this conversation deeply. And it's free, so there's no obligation. I'm just going to grab that opt-in for you guys now. But if anyone has any questions, just please unmute yourself.
I want to know if anyone actually has written. I know I've worked with Malaine in the past for myself, for my business, which is amazing. Has anyone written a love letter to money before? Go ahead and comment, or any questions that you've got for Malaine while we've got her here.
Don't be shy. Cool. then you're all money masters. It's done. A question. Yeah. Have you written a love letter to money? Yeah. Have any of you guys written a love letter to money? Do any of you guys work on your money relationship? Is it a relationship that you've been aware of? Is it a relationship that you've addressed, that you continue to nourish on a daily basis, that you speak to? I'm constantly talking to my money. When I go into my bank account, I'm in a conversation with my money. I'm constantly looking at ways that I can up level and nourish my relationship. See, what the thing is with a lot of people that's happening is they think, oh, I want more money, so I'm going to hire the marketing coach that gives me the 9 steps to make more money. And they're never addressing the actual relationship that they have with money. And so it would be the same as my partner and I going to a counselor that gives us the 10 steps to get there, but we're never actually in communication about our relationship. You know?
Such an interesting observation about that. I totally agree. Something I do, because I've worked with you, is when my money, so I have a doTERRA business, the money comes in on the 15th of the month, right? And that's in America. So about on the 16th or 17th in New Zealand, the money comes in. And before I start, putting some into my tax account like a good girl, and then putting a whole bunch into $5,000 across for tax is what I normally do. And then I put some into my personal, the family account. And from there, some into the Queenstown trip account, like I divvy it up, and I'll put some into my business credit card. But before I touch it, my husband used to actually take a screenshot of my business bank account and say, good job, well done. And he'd send me like a screenshot of all my money that came in, which is super cute. But now I actually do take a moment when that money comes in, and I'm just like, thank you, gorgeous money. I love you so much. Like, I literally think that. I don't actually say it. Maybe I'll start saying it out loud.
Hey, it's always the conversation of any relationship that isn't nourished or tended to stagnates and stalls. And it would be the same in a marriage, in relationship with our children, in relationship to a friend, etc. And it's the same with money. So we can't think, oh, well, I'll just keep doing the actions I did last year, this year, and get a new result or up level my finances. No, you have to take different actions. You have to be in a different conversation with money. You have to be investigating. And I like to say we're comprised of 5 bodies: emotional, mental, physical, energetic, and spiritual, right? And if you're not nourishing all 5 aspects in your relationship with money, then you're leaving room on the table. You're leaving space, right? That isn't being addressed or attended to. And thus, you're not giving yourself the fullest possibility or potential of where you can go with money. One of the things that really just like gets me excited and passionate, because I don't actually get triggered by it, but when people say, well, I don't need a lot of money. I don't need a lot of money. I just need a little bit just to get by, or, just to have enough for the thing. I'm a minimalist, and that's good. But again, that conversation is all about you. It's not about the other people that get to go when you go, that win when you win, that when you're making money, you get to contribute to their life. So it's actually a really selfish conversation that we get in when it's, well, yeah, all my needs are met. I'm good. I don't need to worry about anything. That's great. But who are you here to impact? Who are you here to serve? Your medicine work, your purpose work, who is it supporting, right? And how could their life be transformed because you're making more money? So a great last exercise that I'll leave you guys with is listing out, when you win financially, who else is winning, right? For me, it's my family, yes, but a lot of my friends, some extended family, clients, etc., right? Different foundations that I donate to. Just the other day, my sister is like, oh, I really want to come visit you next year. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I'm like, oh, I got you. Right? But I can't do that if I'm only just getting by, if it's only about Malaine, if it's only about my needs. So I hope that served and supported you guys today. I know you have some other amazing classes coming up. Make sure if you want to dive into this conversation deeper, you just click on that link in the chat box and sign up for the free Sacred Money Masterclass. And unless anyone has any other questions, I'll hop off.